Okay, anybody else? Okay, Joe, can you, let me see if I can get it down to 4. I don't like this. I can't tell what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna go like that. Everybody see 4 or 5 people in the
Yeah.
little box? Okay. All right. Joe and I are talking about what he thinks about how he went so far so fast. You guys have been all on here long enough to remember Joe when he was fat. I mean, fat. Okay. I'm serious. I mean, you were fat. Okay. And he dressed like trying to be a hipster, and he just did all sorts of weird stuff. Okay. And he had a clutter problem, and he had uh, a boss that was a dick, and he was very unassertive. I don't know if you remember how he used to talk, but it was very low key and very, I don't want to offend anybody, and I don't want you to think I'm being pushy type of thing. And I never said anything to him about it. I just noticed it, and I thought, well, that's who he is. So then I think it was a clutter problem. I don't remember what, we got started somewhere, and he did something and was moderately successful at it. And then I said something about running, and he started running. And then I think he either read assertiveness training, read the book, or watched some of my stuff, or I don't remember what. But he learned the basic skills, and he went out one time into the real world and got his money back for some vitamins he didn't like. And a couple of days later, he's very assertive with his boss, and he's never done that before in his life. He's always been, like the secretary of a group of people instead of being a team member. So he ends up being very assertive with his boss and gets the biggest raise in the department. Okay, and he's always been in the fucking middle before. And all of this is happening. And I want to know, Joe, if you can put your finger on anything that triggered. Anywhere in there where you said, fuck it, I'm going to bust my ass and keep doing this, or whatever the fuck. Did you ever say anything to yourself, or did you have any inclination that you were going? I was stunned that you were able to run a marathon. Okay, that's what blew my fucking mind. I said, this is amazing. Guy's 40 fucking years old. He's never been a runner in his life, and he starts from zero and he runs a fucking marathon. Something's going on here. I don't know what it is, and I'm asking you, what the fuck's going on? I'm going to put it in a bottle, and we're all going to get rich. I'm going to divide it 5 ways. Go ahead. Tell us.
Okay. All right. Well, what I think, like, there's a couple of things that I think really helped is when we started working together. This was actually like a couple of years ago when I posted on the list and I said, I have this job offer and I've been a realtor for a long time and I haven't been succeeding, but I think I'm going to decline the job offer and keep working on the realtor thing. And then you just sort of said to me, you need to accept that it wasn't working, that you're not succeeding, and you said like you need to accept that you're a failure, even if you don't like it. And then from there, you need to become aware of that and then find a new way. And that really, I think, that was a pivotal moment because in the past, like everyone I had spoken to, like all these like success coaches and all these people, you would bring them like a problem like that, and they would say, don't give up, and you can do it, and you can succeed. And then, I was just like not succeeding, and so that way of being accepting what is, and then being okay with like I didn't like it, I still don't like it, like saying that for some reason it didn't work, but just accepting it and then finding a new way and then from there growing. That I think was a key thing because I ended up accepting the job, which helped clear up slowly like some financial issues. And then from there it created a massive amount of like trust in what you have to like. I trust what you have to say because you're the only one who gave me like the solid, what I felt was the solid truth.
Uh,
And so right there is like a huge credibility thing. Like I think what you say is credible and I believe it. And then things are going okay, moderately okay in the career, in the job. And then we talked about the issues that were facing me recently were, the weight, the clutter problem, and then this issue of like having some money that I owe to the real estate company. And it was the same thing, like you told me your experience, and hearing your experience, like hearing things where you fucked up and how you got out of it, helped me realize that okay, like he fucked up, he got out of it, therefore these problems are not permanent. So when I heard your story about how you felt like you fucked up in Hawaii and you blew a lot of money, and then here you are now, you're like you're doing all right. I'm like okay, like people have fucked up too, and they've gotten out of it, and the only way they get out of it is getting through the problem. And that's something that I learned from you is like you can't just avoid the problem like those positive thinkers say, and just put a big smile on your face and avoid the problem and it'll go away. And that's how I thought I was operating. I thought I was being positive, but what you taught was like accept it, own it, and then go through it. That the only way out is to go through the problem and to get to the other side. And so that really like clicked with me, and I just started seeing like like I started seeing that there are ways out. And then you said to me, um, you got to man up and work on this issue, and I listened. And the running thing, it just clicked with me that you said, people have gotten off of depression meds by running, and people have gotten off of this and that by running. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to do it. And I didn't even tell anyone about the marathon thing because I knew that if I told people, they'd say, you're crazy and you're not in shape, and
I would have been one of them. I would have
I
been.
know, I know, I know. And the guys, even the guys saying about, the people who drop dead and all that. And I just said to myself, like, I listened to my body. Like, I never pushed myself
No.
to the point where, like, I'm not listening to my body. So, um, I wanted to finish, and all I did was every day I just ran. It was like, and I'm still doing it, but like, I just like every day after work, I run. And I just felt like I'm just like doing something for myself. There was no agenda. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I didn't tell anyone like, "Hey, look at me. I'm training. Look how cool I am." Nothing. There was no motivation to impress any girls or anything. And so I feel like that has helped my self-esteem because I'm basically just impressing myself. I'm doing this like for myself. And then through that, like I just feel a lot better and I just feel more capable in my life. And then I think like now I just feel like I can handle problems as they come up with much more ease. But I will say that like the stuff that you were like teaching, that's what made it click because I've been searching around everywhere before, like people like Tony Robbins and all these types of gurus, and nothing ever clicked. It's like nothing clicked for me.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, sharing that with everybody. But I would like to ask you, how do you think about the assertiveness with the vitamins made it possible for you to be assertive with your boss? That's a big fucking jump. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, so the assertiveness thing is something that you were talking about, and I think that it clicked also with that stuff you were talking about owning your emotions and your feelings. Because what it is that I and you were right, like I used to talk like I guess in a more timid way because I was like not owning what I was feeling, so I was trying to control it. So I'm upset, like say at my boss, but I can't own that, and I'm upset at myself for being in a situation where um, I'm not happy or something. So instead of owning it, I shut it down and I try to like stifle it. So what happened with the vitamins and with the assertiveness was, you said to start off small, and I was pissed off. Like I got the vitamins, and there was some ingredient in there that I didn't like, and I was pissed off. And I said, you know what? I'm going to own that. instead of feeling like I was a, because in a way it was my fault. Like I didn't read the ingredients. But I said, instead of beating myself up, I'm going to go and I'm going to tell them. And I did it with the vitamins. I started doing it with other things too. I took back things, I took back stuff at a store like that's like a TJ Maxx type store here in Canada with the tag still on it that was a couple of years old. And I said, I'd like to bring this back. And they said, you have no bill. I said, nope. And they said, we can see from the tag that it's 3 years old. And I said, well, I forgot about it. And I'd like a store credit. I understand you can't give me the money. And the girl just like gives me a store credit, and it's like, I know I'm guilty. I'm not even lying to you. Like I'm not lying, like I know I forgot about it and I got the store credit. And then with my boss, it just became natural because we rehearsed it, and through these like little sort of mini challenges, it became natural to talk to my boss. Um, it's the same thing with that real estate brokerage. Like, remember, I owed them all this money, and I ended up making, and my plan was to make a sale and then pay it off and resign. And then I ended up making a sale, and then I called and I resigned. Like right away, there was no, in the past, there would have been all this like hesitation that once the debt is paid off, I would have started talking to myself and saying, well, maybe I can do more sales. Maybe I should stick around. Maybe this. There was no more like wavering. No, I called. I resigned right away, and I told them exactly what I felt about the type of service I got and that I wasn't happy about it. And so, not that it changed how much money wise, but I got it off my chest that in a professional way, like I didn't yell at anybody, but in a professional way, I said exactly how I felt. This is why I'm resigning. And I left, and there was like no problem. And I feel so much better. And I feel like because of that, I know that I won't as easily fall into those traps or those situations again, because I learned from the mistake, like I feel like, okay, I learned how much it stings to make a bad deal and then have to pay back money. So I paid it off. There's integrity there, but I won't make that mistake again. Next time I'll cut it off at the head before it grows to a big amount. If that happens.
What do you think your future looks like from here?
I really think like that's why we were talking about the 80-20 rule. In a sense, like I really think if I get more ripped and I keep training and I spruce up the wardrobe, I think it's going to help a lot with my career. I stopped wearing those hipster type things, the checkered blazers and all that. Now I've gone like the other way. I'm basically a white shirt, dark tie, blue pants. I'm like vanilla guy. No more creative fedora hats and all that stuff. And I feel like I'm I don't have that like need to express myself through being like eccentric or something. Like I think that was maybe a little bit of an insecurity, like I wasn't enough how I am, so I have to have some sort of accessory to make myself cool or something. And now it's like I just don't feel that way, you know. Um, so I think the future is good. Like I'm looking forward to getting a promotion. I'm working hard at it. I've told my boss how I feel, and I do my work well, so he can't fault me for that. So he knows I want more, and hopefully, I can make it happen with him or move on to something else and still have him as a reference and as a champion behind me.
The skills you have are transferable to other domains than running a university, nonprofit university, what department are you in anyway? I forget.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a department that's a little bit like the top department. It's like basically the principal's office. Um,
A little louder. My gardener's blowing my leaves.
sorry. I'm in a department that's It's called the Principal and Vice President Academic. So,
Go ahead.
So basically, it might be a little tricky to sell it to a corporation, like a for-profit corporation, but I have a lot of experience in sales and in sales management. So it's possible that by merging those two, it creates like a situation where I can work in a sales department or in an administration department of a pharmaceutical or some sort of large
Well,
thing.
no, I think every big company has a sales department, and I always worked in the sales department.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just called business development. That's code word for sales.
Exactly, yeah.
They got to push a lot of fucking paper. They got a lot of fucking reports. They got a lot of research. They got all kinds of shit paper flying all the time. And that's what I did. Solve the paper problem. It's just common sense. You can't go to fucking college and learn it. You say, okay, we have a report due every 2 weeks. We have a special report due daily, bloody fucking blah, write it down, look at it. You know, it's not fucking rocket science.
Right.
They paid me enough to walk on fucking water, okay? And to me, it was just no big deal. The guys downstairs, they're building the nuke plant. I couldn't even fucking figure out how much dirt they needed. So, but to me, it was nothing to it. So you find a job like that.
Right.
It's administrating. You're helping people do their fucking work, and you figure out it comes in here, it goes to that guy, and then it comes over here, and then we have a fucking meeting, and then we jack off a little bit, and then it's spread around, and it comes back together.
Right.
We could cut that by doing X, Y, Z. Just common sense. Just look at it and go, I can shorten that up. That's all I did. It's just look at the problem and figure it out. That's what IQ is. That's fine. Joe, I can't tell you how happy I am that you shared that with everybody. I'm going to cut that out as a video and just put it on my website, if that's okay with you. I want you to look at it before we do it. So this goes back to Mike yesterday when he went to script his fucking talk to the woman. This is the same thing. I mean, I gave him a little heads up. I said, Joe, I'd like you to share with me how you did so well to run a marathon or something like that. Just that's all I told him. And it just flowed out there like the Mississippi River, you know, and that is always seen by the other person as genuine, authentic, real. I'm sure you could all see that. He wasn't jerking around about anything. This is just the fucking truth. He wasn't bragging and he wasn't being humble. He just, this is what I did, and that worked that way and that worked this way. So I'm trying to isolate the principle, and I think the principle is to tell the fucking truth above all else and be authentic. When you tell the truth, you're authentic. Okay? Now, I'm going to quote Aristotle. Courage is the virtue that makes every other virtue possible. It takes courage to tell the fucking truth. If you don't have the courage, you're not going to tell the truth. So, Joe, you're a brave person. That's what's behind everything.